Hey, oh my gosh. John and Teddy, how are you? I'm sorry, I thought it was going to be late. I couldn't get my camera to work. That was so weird. Oh, phew. Hey, John and Teddy, you look, it's good to see you from Welcome Home. We're on Marketing Monday. I feel a little bit flustered because it was so last minute. You look a little different today. What's going on?
Yeah. You know, dressed up for the occasion. Sierra, our marketing manager, always has costumes ready at the go. So, you know, we just decided to dress up for Halloween.
Wait, it's Halloween?
I know, yeah. What? That explains the camera thing. Then tech issues. Yeah, tech issues always happen on Halloween. Yeah. So Sierra, shout out to Sierra for getting those costumes. What even are they?
Well,
what are you?
So John's children are quite old, and I don't have kids, but apparently we're characters from Bluey, a popular childhood show. John's Bluey, and I'm Bingo. At first, I thought she got this because it looked like a teddy bear, and it looked like I was a bear, but apparently that's not the case.
Yeah, and I thought I was Eeyore. I thought it was a Winnie the Pooh Eeyore thing going on, but no.
That works.
I keep trying to get my ears to stay up, but it won't work.
Well, I love that you dressed up. I'm so sorry I didn't bring a costume. That was such a good idea. I wish I had thought of that. Happy Halloween. Well, today we're going to talk appropriately. That explains our topic today because we happen to be talking about ghosting in sales. Ghosting, it's scary as heck when somebody ghosts you. I know it is. And if you're a salesperson in particular and you are trying to, Bluey and Bingo, thanks, Sierra. I'm going to stick with Pooh and Eeyore. Thank
you. Yeah.
So if I'm a salesperson at senior living and people are ghosting me left and right, and I'm like, this is terrible. Is it them? Is it me? Does this happen to everybody?
Yes. The first answer is yes. Ghosting is all too common in sales in general. So if you have prospects that have ghosted you, you're not alone. So that's part of what we're going to talk about. So it is not just you.
Yeah, and I think it's especially, I mean, Teddy gets ghosted all the time because he's just not that charming, but it's especially true in senior living, right? It's an incredibly emotional decision that's being coordinated across a variety of different folks, and it takes a lot of twists and turns and starts and stops, and you know, oftentimes the way that folks deal with it is by cocooning. And so I think that's the main message, which is don't get discouraged by being ghosted.
Yeah, cocooning. That's not, I'm sorry, there's something behind. Oh my gosh.
Ah!
Oh my gosh. I will deal with this after the show. Let me sit him. He doesn't seem to be he doesn't have a lot of life right now, so he must be like cocooning himself. He's our ghosting alien. Oh, look at him.
You're having way too much fun, Leon.
Maybe fun for you. I got an alien in my apartment. So how do you, the first thing you want to do though, okay, you're going to be the salesperson extraordinaire and the one salesperson who does not have any ghosts around. So how do you keep them alive, so to speak? What's the first tip you have for preventing ghosts?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the easiest way to avoid ghosts in the process, which, you know, no one likes that, is to look at ways to prevent them from ever becoming one. And I would say that the easiest way to do that is to get your face in front of people as quickly as you possibly can. People are more inclined to not view you as a human being, as a person, if they can't associate a face with you. If they've only ever heard your voice, only ever read an email or text messages from you in that sense, it's very easy to ignore someone and just disappear on someone that you don't associate as a human being. There's a bunch of psychology behind it. You can look up stats and read some articles around why that is the psychology. So what we encourage people to do as a very first step, show your face. And so that could be get them into tour as quickly as you can, but that could also be sending videos of yourself in the outreach process or even early on, or getting on a screen share as fast as you can rather than a first call. You know, people are very inclined to do Zoom calls these days, especially adult children, you know, even seniors themselves as well. So rather than have a 45-minute call over the phone where your face isn't visible, ask to get that Zoom or that video conferencing call before you can convince them to come into a tour so they can associate you as a human being, because it's much harder once you know me and you know who I am to just leave me hanging when I reach out again.
And I just want to interject, as a human being or an alien being, whichever one you have.
Yes, exactly. Yes, yeah.
Thank you for that. What's like the low hanging fruit, the easiest way to get somebody face to face? Is it sending them a video of yourself? Is it trying to schedule a screen share, scheduling a tour? I know that's on down the road.
I think the absolute easiest is, of course, to send a video, and there's plenty of different platforms that allow you to do that. But as a next step, right, as what you propose is to jump on a video call, right, just to get to know you, especially if there's multiple people on their side. It's hard to do a conference call with multiple people, but you could easily have everyone around the kitchen table to do Zoom. And so I think that is the 1-2 punch.
Yeah. When you send a video, do you send it via email, like it's embedded, or do you attach a link, or how do you recommend? What's the best way?
There's a number of different ways you can do it, right? Whether you're using like One Day or Sales Mail, you know, and sending it through those platforms, or whether you're just recording it on your phone, right, and sending it through email or text message. I think that the benefits of getting in front with video as soon as you possibly can are tremendous in that aspect. But it's the ask for a video conference is very easy, right? It is, hey, I think, you know, I would like to introduce you to myself. I want you to see who I am. I want you to see a little bit about our community. I know you're not ready to come in for a tour yet, because obviously if they were ready to come in, you would go that route. But why don't we just set up a Zoom, set up something like that, and let me tell you a little bit let me answer your questions that way. You get it scheduled. They can bring other family members in, so you can start to get a feel for who's sitting in the corner like this, you know, like that, which family members like that versus who's like leaning in and very excited, because then you know, okay, well, my champion is the one that keeps asking all the questions and lights up, and the, you know, the sister in this over here who is just right like that, that's the one, she's my hurdle. So it opens that up quickly, especially if they don't live in the same state, right? Then, you know, that's the way to get them all involved early. So I think just asking people, getting more comfortable asking to hop on a video conference rather than picking up, calling and saying, let's just hash everything out on the phone with you and me not involving any other stakeholders.
Smart. Makes sense. Much harder to go to somebody you feel like you know. Right. Then the second, so the first one is get face-to-face ASAP. The second one that you have said previously is to state the obvious objections. That seems a little bit scary, because what if they say, yeah, you're right, I don't want to do this?
Yeah, I think from our standpoint in this, and John, I'm sure has plenty of topics or thoughts on this as well. But from our standpoint, you likely know, based on the demographics of the person that you are talking to, and having been in the role for a while, exactly what their objections are going to be, right? And what it can, when you talk to we've done a speech basically on where people view salespeople, and it's like, all right, you have family, you've got your friends, you've got you know, acquaintances, and then like way, way down, just above mortal enemies is salespeople. So salespeople are slightly above mortal enemies in the view of the general public, right? So first and foremost, a lot of times when people they feel that they can't tell you much because they don't want to be sold, and they try to withhold information. So by just merely saying like, would these be some of your concerns? Or, I know you have it. It elevates your level of trust because you always want to move up towards the family scale in terms of how people view you. And it opens them up to, you brought it up. Now, why not have them answer the question and speak honestly about it?
Yeah, it shows that you're empathetic, right? That you know where they're from. And so it immediately builds a bridge of familiarity. So they see you as a human being, and then you're talking to them about them, right? You're talking to them about what's potentially concerning them. And no one doesn't want to talk about themselves or talk about what they're going through. And so it's disarming and it's trust building. And so the sooner that you just kind of pull the Band-Aid off and build that kind of human relationship, the better. So they see you as a human, and then they start to appreciate that you're a human because you're engaging on their level.
Yeah, you can do all of this right really early on. Just during that Zoom call, you can start bringing those things up, right?
Well, and Leanne, you have to do it early on. You have probably a 7-day window in order to establish yourself as like a real empathetic human being that understands their plight and understands the process they're going to. You have about 7 days to establish that sort of initial connection. Otherwise, you're going to be, likely bucketed in with the other communities that maybe aren't doing that. And then therefore they're going to continue rapid conversations with the person that they connect with the most in that vein. So you're increasing the likelihood that they ghost you later on in the process if you aren't establishing that pretty quickly.
Nice. That makes sense. And then, of course, this next point is good in sales in general, but specifically good for ghosting, interestingly, which is have clear next steps. Can you expound on that a little?
Yeah. I mean, the end all be all of that process is you need a reason for them to talk to you, and you need a reason to talk to them. Otherwise, why are they going to talk to you? We were just at Smash, and Christy, now formerly of MBK, now at Legend, she refers to follow up as an FU, right? If you're just following up, right, that's not the way you want to go. But the understanding of next steps is it's not the salesperson next steps. It's what are their next steps? What do they think they have to do in the process? You greatly inform that by suggesting things or getting them to intuit things. But if you don't have a reason to talk, then you're going to just follow up. You're going to just check in, and it's real easy for them in their head to be, maybe they're busy and they're like, oh, yep, no, I don't have anything to respond. They forget to say that to you, and then days go by, and then eventually it becomes more easy to not talk. The next steps is crucial to finding out, basically suggesting, okay, well, typically in this process, the things that we need to cross off based on what you've said are X, Y, and Z. I have, this person is going to be available to have a conversation with you. You were very concerned about, mom's a foodie. You were very concerned about, what the type of food is offered, right? Well, I think the next step would logically be like, why don't you come taste some food? So why don't you come in for a tour, see if you like it? What does mom like? I'll have the chef prepare it. So there's thinking creatively about those things and unearthing it, and then evolving the next steps to where it's their next step, not yours, is kind of crucial in that vein.
And I think with both of these past 2 points of recommendations, it's all about being interesting and being helpful, right? When you try to establish what the objections are, you are eliciting a dialogue where you can potentially be a resource for them, right? By setting next steps, it teases what is going to be of interest next time we talk. Again, it's no different than any kind of human interaction, right? If you think that the conversation is going to be boring, if you think that the conversation is going to be one-sided, if you think that the conversation isn't going to go anywhere, you just send it to voicemail. I mean, that's no different than if it's a sales conversation or one of your relatives, right? The relative that has like a wacky story, a relative that said that they want to talk about a vacation that they're planning, and next time they follow up, want to see what the kids want to do versus what the adults want to do. It gives you a reason to pick up the phone, and that's what I think all of these things are doing.
Yeah, yeah. So it's interesting because you're using I'm not in sales. I have a background in marketing, and I'm always in awe of salespeople who can work the techniques, but at the same time still be genuine and authentic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm sure that I think you have also said that just being personable is important too, to not be ghosted.
Yeah. It also is almost preventing you from ghosting yourself or you from ghosting them, right? If you haven't established a human connection with the family, if you haven't set up next steps, it's daunting to pick up the phone because you know that the risks of being ghosted are high. And so you almost create a self-fulfilling prophecy. And so there's energy that's created through all of this by being authentic, by being human, by being empathetic, by being interesting. It makes it that much easier. And then when someone has ghosted you, it's more natural to kind of to guilt them, right? I mean, when you're having great conversations with, again, anyone, whether it's a potential spouse that you're going through a dating process, it's one of your siblings, you're like, well, things were going well. We were planning this ski trip. What's going on? Why are you not picking up? That's not a shout out to my sister, but there you have
it. Yeah, so that does segue into, all right, we've done everything we can to prevent ghosting. We are best friends with these people. They're inviting us to Thanksgiving. We're not going to be ghosted. And then, by golly, we're ghosted. And we haven't heard back and we haven't heard back. What do you do? Got any tips for that?
Absolutely. I mean, and I think there's two different scenarios even amongst that, right? There's the scenario where you thought you did do the right things in the first part and you established, good connections and you established next steps and then you still get ghosted. And then there's the ones where you didn't do a good job and you obviously then get ghosted. And the reason that they're important is because the amount of information that you collect early on and allows you to be personable, it can be essentially very capable in that sense. So when you roll into the ghosting process or when they actually ghosted you, you have to get them to re-engage, right? So the more information you know about them allows you to be topical and personable in your re-engage. They're a veteran. Veterans Day is right around the corner. Or they're a Marine. The Marine Corps birthday is right around the corner, right? So you have that ability, or whatever it might be. You have the ability to connect on a topical basis, which allows them to know, wow, this person, I did actually have a good conversation with them, or I did know them. They did listen to the things that I said. Typically, then also on the family dynamic, you could be getting ghosted by one person in the family, and there's other people likely that you can then re-engage with to get that person back on the phone, right? So if one person, that's where identifying your champion becomes pretty key, because one person who is the decision maker and is your main point of contact, that person may ghost you. Meanwhile, the younger brother, the sister, whatever it might be, the husband, the spouse, the wife, whoever it is, they might still be interested. And you can approach them to understand, hey, I was having lots of conversations with so-and-so. It may have dropped. Any insight on what's going on, right? It is being honest about, we were talking. You're no longer talking with me. Do you just not have any new updates? Are you at a standstill? Or is there a reason that you don't want to talk to me anymore? I never want to be pushy. I just want to be helpful. So that's an aspect there. I'm sure John has others as well.
No, I mean, I think all of those are spot on. And again, if you've done the work up until then, it's very natural as to, to have that kind of honest conversation as to what can I do to be helpful? And is it the right thing right now for me to back off? And going back to, I think tip number 2, what's the right next step? If now is not the right time, is it good if I call you in a week? is it good if I call you after Thanksgiving? Because I know the holidays get hectic and you'll have more time with family by then.
The other aspect I think about it, particularly in the scenario where maybe you botched the beginning part of the process and didn't get good information, is do your research, right? If you haven't, you had a 15-minute phone call with this person, they inquired about moving into your senior living community, and you just never heard from them again, and it's been 90 days, and you look in your Welcome Home dwell time report and it shows that it's there, right? If you need to re-engage them, do some research. You can find a lot about a person by just Googling them, checking LinkedIn, doing whatever, right? Do your research about what's topical. Go to your marketing team, grab something that is maybe you think would be pertinent, and either get them in a marketing rotation where they're getting content and information that they need to see that might unearth them again, or personally grab that piece of content. In that 15-minute conversation, they mentioned affordability is a concern, or care needs is something that is of great concern. You send them a topical piece of content that has to do with something that you might do it, and then slowly get them to unearth themselves as well.
Yeah, thank you. Let's keep that Steve quote. What I love about this is that the salesperson is moving into trusted advisor instead of someone who is just selling. Yes. Yeah, that's something we talk about a lot is if you believe in what you're doing, you're really not just selling, you're helping somebody, right? You're helping them find the best place.
Yeah, and I think in that vein, telling people that you're going to be honest with them is one thing. Showing them that you're going to be honest is another. And if you actively say no to someone who isn't a right fit in your community, that gets around. I promise you, they will refer you to other people. They'll be like, hey, I really liked Teddy when he told me all about this, but what I really liked is he point blank told me that I am not the right fit for his community because I told him my priorities, and those priorities aren't necessarily what they offer, or wasn't a good fit. And he referred me to a different community down the road, right? Ideally, you do everything for everyone, but that's not the reality. The reality is sometimes there's going to be certain communities that are better suited for certain people than others. But that person, I promise you, will tell their family and friends that you should check out their community. I really like them. They're really honest. And that might not even be referring people away. That just might be comfortable saying no, right? When someone asks you a question, as opposed to always trying to figure out a way how you can answer a question as a yes. If you start saying, no, we don't do that, or no, that's not something that we have, or just actively listening to them, they will start to trust you, as opposed to, well, I've asked 75 questions. He said, yes, they do every single one. How could that possibly be true? Something might be a lie in here.
Yeah. Or, I mean, the reality is you're the expert. You should be the expert in what it's like to move into a residential setting. And your answer could be, again, no different than if you're talking to a true friend. Given your family dynamics, given where mom or dad is, I wouldn't push, right? And it's something that is going to take some time to get all the forces aligned. So the right answer for you, Teddy, you, Leanne, is just to let mom and your brother get comfortable with this. And the right next step might be come by around Christmas, right? Just come by. It's a great time. And nothing more than seeing the performance that we have with the elementary school kids, or we do a cooking class. And, I can tell you what it's going to be like. Your brother's is going to come around New Year's. Then he's going to start to talk to you as if it's his idea rather than your idea in February. And maybe sometime around the spring, your whole family is going to be there. Right. And that's my advice to you, which is let's back off. I've seen your family. Every family dynamic is unique and wonderful in its own way, but I can recognize the pattern. I can put you in touch with other family members that have gone through this 4 or 5 years ago, where they got to their decision and their view of ready was sooner than everybody else's. And you look a lot like, a family I worked with in 2016. And in that way, you kind of, again, engender a lot of trust. And and goodwill, and get the move in a little later.
And
well, go ahead, Teddy.
Oh, sorry. The only other last point on that I just wanted to make is, I talked about getting comfortable with telling people no, because it establishes trust, but it's also getting comfortable with hearing no.
Yeah.
So the ultimate, like, you're never going to get someone to stop being a ghost if you're afraid of the no, and you don't reach out or you don't do something. So you have to overcome sales. If you're a good salesperson, it's a lot like being in the Hall of Fame in baseball, right? Like, your win rate is still going to be not that great. It's going to be pretty low, right? It's certainly going to be below 50% to be in the Hall of Fame. So the thing that you have to do in that vein is you have to be able to be comfortable with people telling you no, and you can't be afraid of reaching out and hearing the no. Otherwise, you're going to be paralyzed with fear and never actually take action. And the people that you could re-engage and get them to come back to life, you're never actually going to know if they will.
Yeah, no is actually a good thing, because then you can move on to somebody else and pay more attention. You'd rather have a no than a ghost.
Yes.
If you brought up something that was interesting, and we've got just a couple more minutes left, but so how do you balance knowing whether somebody's ghosting you or whether they just need a little bit more time? You mentioned dwell time that Welcome Home couldn't show you. What kind of things, is there a general idea, or do you feel it out?
I mean, it's certainly tough, right? You can use the data. You can use the data to understand whether you're being ghosted, but most of the time you are being ghosted because of indecision and because a competitor is outshining you, right? So those are the two reasons that you'd be ghosted. You should expect conversations to increase before a contract or a signing or a closing. They should be asking more nitty-gritty, detailed questions about your community and about what's going on. So if conversation isn't ramping up, then you're still far away from that move-in process. So the thing there is, how engaged have they been previously? Are you listening back to your phone calls? Are you seeing your text messages? Are you seeing your emails? Have they, being a salesperson who's concerned about getting a move in, did you forget that they told you that they're going to be on a 4-week vacation? Right. And so if you have to understand, you have to listen, you have to have tools like, say, Welcome Home or others that allow you to understand what has been said and go back to it, because a lot of times they'll say something in that process that you will forget 4 months down the road, and you realize that they're not actually a ghost, they're busy and there's better timing to do something. But more often than not, you're being ghosted because of indecision or another competitor is outshining you.
Yeah, and we have wonderful reports that will say how long has every single person been in every single stage, and odds are that if they're still in one of the early phases of an inquiry or a prospect or a qualified inquiry stage, and you haven't had a meaningful conversation at all with them, and again, your CRM should be able to point this out, after 30 days, you've been ghosted. And there needs to be some shock and awe for them to re-engage. If you're months into a relationship and they're post-tour, they've been to many events, and it's only been a week that you haven't, or a couple of weeks that you haven't, it's probably, to Teddy's point, more indecision. And you want to take a little lighter touch, but again, give them a reason to pick up that phone.
Is ghosting, this is my last question. I can keep talking. I have so many questions, but is ghosting almost an inevitable no?
Almost inevitable no. I would say absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
I don't think it's inevitable no at all. I think that that's why you get comfortable hearing a no, because it could be. It is all it is I'm not ready to buy now. Right. It's as Cassie at Arrow puts it, it may be a KNOW, right? Like, it means you need to get to know them a little bit better, that's why they're not conversing with you, because maybe you don't know everything about them in order to do it. So I think it's
absolutely not. And the more comfortable you get to dealing with ghosts and sweeping out the closets, the better.
Yeah. Well, thank y'all very much. This has been spooky and enlightening. Welcome Home. Tell us, give us your 30-second spiel of what Welcome Home is in case anybody hasn't heard of you. They all should have.
John, you want to go or you want me?
Yeah, we are the single best CRM in the senior living space. We were built from the ground up, listening to all of you. We are incredibly innovative to come up with tools and build a team that's going to be supportive to make you successful in all of your sales and marketing efforts.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah. Built for senior living, specifically for senior living. And we love Welcome Home, and you can go to their website and request a demo if you'd like, and check around, see what all you can. If you don't already use Welcome Home, which many people do. So thank you all. Happy Halloween. I hope you have a blast with your Eeyore and Pooh costumes, and go trick or treating, and
or whatever, Bluey and Bingo. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I'll try to wake this guy up, and maybe we'll go get some lunch or something. All right. We'll see y'all next time. Catch us right here. Usually on the third Monday or the fourth Monday of the month, but this is the 5th. And anyway, it's all mixed up because it's Halloween. I hope everybody has a safe and wonderful night. We'll see you.